Hello, hello, hello. I'm here to talk about the news. Yeah, I'm really not into cover news because I'm, as you see, my schedule is terrible for videos and I really don't like to cover new things before I test those new things. And the difference in this video is because I will never test this new thing if they continue doing what they are doing. And as you can always see in the description of the video and the title, we're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 and why I think is literally the worst release and game console possible. Why I think this game this game console could destroy every single thing that you have. If you like games, Nintendo Switch 2 is not your friend. If you bought it, I'm so sorry for you because you're being played. I have a Nintendo Switch 1. I have been supported supportive. I supported Nintendo buying their games, buying their consoles. The first ever video game that I have was a Super Nintendo. I had a Super Nintendo back in Brazil. I had a Wii. I mean, my brother had a Wii, but we played together. I had a Nintendo DS, a Nintendo 3DS, and I have a Switch. Why I don't think that Switch 2 is a good console. First of all, it's way more expensive than you should ever pay for it. And you're gonna say, "Oh, but it's cheaper than a PS5 and it's mobile." Yeah, it's okay, sure, but the Nintendo Switch 2 now in the release is a faster Nintendo Switch. So you're you're upcharging $100 American bucks for running your games the way they're developed. I would not hit in the price as much as most of the people like to, because in the end, I believe that the companies know which price should be sell their games. But if you're paying $450, why not just buy a Steam Deck? Why not just buy a Steam Deck? You're gonna and you say, oh, but the Steam Deck is, oh, but this is Canadian. Okay, why not you buy a Steam Deck? I think that's used, but it is used. That's really that's way cheaper than I imagined. But why not to buy this a fucking Steam Deck that you can play your games, your Steam games anywhere? That is way better than any game that Nintendo can have for a little bit more money. And you'd say, I don't have, but you can buy like the Asus or the other things, or you can buy the Nintendo Switch One. That is basically the same thing. Nintendo has a problem to resell their consoles for just charging more. So they did that with the Game Boy Advance. So they released the Game Boy Advance and they released it a Game Boy Advance that opens like this. They released the DS and they released the DSi that is basically a bigger DS. They released the 3DS and they released the new 3DS that is basically the same fucking thing. But they didn't did with the consoles. So we lasted for ages when and they tried to make it because they make it a Wii U that is basically a also they made it with a Wii because they make the same thing twice. The Wii U is basically a Wii with an extra screen. They made it. I don't know why nobody predicted that. Oh, they did, and I didn't even realize. But they basically didn't create new thing. They just improved the new thing they already had. But the improvement for me destroyed the market and destroy gamers. Okay to resell your console a better version, but instead of two, I believe it should be a Nintendo Switch Pro. Okay, but that's fine because the thing is the Switch 2, the biggest difference is bigger, it's faster. The Joy-Cons are different. You can use the Joy-Con as a mouse. Fine. The problem, they decided to increase the price of games because of Nintendo. I'm just gonna say Nintendo was greed and increased the price for the whole world. Now the it was the same thing with NBA. NBA increased the price for $60 to 70, and now Nintendo is increasing the price of the games again. And you can say, "Oh, that was a phrase that I was said before," but it doesn't really make sense because oh, inflation. Agree with you, my guy. I know inflation sucked, but the difference is they're spending more money to build the games. Understand, but they have so much more target audience. If you go back in time, that's why the price of the game shouldn't have changed at all or that much because the target audience gamers increase exponentially in the time. But when you're increasing the price of your game, you're selling fewer copies, and Nintendo games never go on sale. So if you go now to your Best Buy, to your Walmart, trying to buy your GameStop, trying to buy Breath of the Wild, you're gonna pay full price in Breath of the Wild. That is insane. But Nintendo doesn't care. They released a game with one new game. One, just one. Mario Kart World. Never going to play this game. Is good? I don't know. I play Mario Kart 8. They basically give a lot of DLC for that game, like sell a lot of DLC. But the problem is they release a fucking new console with one new game. All of the other games are or ports like Cyberpunk and uh, Hogwarts Legacy, or improvement versions like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and the Zelda. I forgot the second one of the Breath of the Wild. And Skyrim's Kingdom. Don't care. Or Mario Kart World. You release a fucking console with one game, one new game. That is insane. You have so much time of development and you could release one game. You release just one game. That's insane. You're making players pay for your tech demo. Why? Nintendo, you have money. We came with Wii Sports. For the longest time, me and my brother just played Wii Sports because it was there for free. Why are making gamers pay for your tech demo? PS5 came with Astrobot, literally showing off what your games could do, but you make them pay for your game, making them pay $10 for it. Your Mario Kart World, it costs 109 bucks Canadian. The digital version. That is another crazy thing. I'm gonna make US version. You're charging $10 for your welcome tour. Why you're charging people for a tech demo? You don't want them to see what you can do? Is that what you mean? These are the things that you're giving back to the community that supports your games. But no, it looks like you just want more money because you want more money. You're promising this one, you're promising a lot of different games. So this one, you release it with it. You couldn't release Donkey Kong Together. You couldn't release Metro Prime. Oh, you have, but it's a Nintendo Switch 2 edition. Old games with a new branding. You're charging more for the same thing. In Pokemon, is ridiculous. The Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you're instead of fixing the damn game that the person's already bought, you're making them buy a new console just to be able to play the game as they should. I'm not gonna talk about Pokemon today because Pokemon is already other mess that I want to dedicate a full video for it. But in for you to first of all increase the price, and the most absurd thing after is make the games not theirs, because Nintendo Switch 2, if you buy a Nintendo Switch 2, they're licensing them to you so they can remove and break your console just because they want to, because you're violate their uh, agreement, user agreement. The games that you buy is not yours. If you go to the GameStop, if you go to the Walmart and buy the cartridge for the Nintendo Switch 2 games, it's basically a key for the game, so you can download the game. And they say, "Oh, it's better because now we can create bigger games and don't need to worry about the space in the cartridge." Okay, but you are basically selling a piece of plastic for 10 extra dollars, because the physical version is $10 more expensive than the digital version. That is why doesn't make any sense. You're trying to create artificial prices. You're making your users unhappy. You're basically using their love for your brand, their love for your games to charge more, to make them pay more, to make them not owning the real game. And the thing is, Nintendo was the first. The real problem with this is because they opened the doors, because they're showing to the other companies that, you see that we are making our games more expensive, so you can do it too. We're making our console a licensed thing, so you can do it too in PS6 or Xbox 2, because it's not, oh no, Xbox Series 2. You can make gamers as fools that is wanting to purchase every garbage that you put out. And don't play, I didn't play Mario Kart. I'm 100% sure that should be fun, and I never will. I will never buy anything from Nintendo again if they don't change the way they are doing business right now. Because I don't want to buy a game or a console and Nintendo come with me and say, mm, yeah, the your console doesn't work anymore. Peace. Or yeah, your game that is on our store, or we don't like it the way that you play it, or oh, we're gonna just close the game and you're never gonna be able to have it again. I'm all in favor for downloadable games because I can buy games cheaper. But Nintendo makes their digital games artificially cheaper. They make their games $10 cheaper if you digital buy it. But the problem is they're never going to be on sale. 9 out of 10 times I buy my games on sale. If I really want to buy a game, I waited and waited and waited to go on sale. If I could not wait, Inazuma 11, thank you so much, I would just buy the game for my own risk. But it's an exception, not the norm. And Nintendo is making gamers pay more for less, paying more for garbage, paying more for the next crappy Digimon because the next crappy Pokemon because the next Pokemon is gonna be bad again. Doesn't matter if the Switch is good, is powerful, could run the game. The Pokemon is never going to be the game they should have been making. Again, not videos about Pokemon focus. So that's why I believe the Nintendo Switch 2 it is bad and is going to destroy the world the way that we see it. And the problem is you. You are the problem. You who would buy the Switch 2, you as a people who applaud Nintendo, who clap for their victory, who helps them to continue doing that shit, you are the one who's making that thing. I'm not in favor of cancel, cancel culture, but I'm in favor of voting with our wallets. I'm in favor of showing the companies they don't have things for granted. Showing companies they need to do their best because our money worth things for us too. Show them that they could not release crappy games and expected us to buy it either way. Unfinished games expected us to buy it either way. Nintendo games usually don't do that, but my thing is Nintendo is trying to create a new normal. And you are voting yes. You are voting for a new normal that in my view, is going to be a bad tomorrow for every single gamer. And again, this is my opinion, and thank you so much for watching. Comment down below if you have a different point of view of me, and you can see the 4D chess that Nintendo is playing, and in the end, it's going to be better for everyone. Because for me, Nintendo just wants what is better for them. But most of the companies does that. That is not the problem. The problem is the Nintendo is going too far to get their money back. I think the greediness. Every company should be greedy, yes, but you should have a limit to it. That's it. Thank you so much. See you on the next one.